Hey everybody, Alex Kozora, SteelersDepot.com, back with some more Pittsburgh Steelers tape breakdown and analysis. Gotten this question a ton throughout the last several weeks, really over the course of the season, especially recently, so I'm going to attempt to at least partially answer or explore the question, is there anything wrong with Minkah Fitzpatrick? No interceptions this year, nearly 2 full calendar years without one, granted hurt for good portions of last year, but is he the same player that he was in his heyday? Let's talk about it. Before we start, if you guys could like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out the site, SteelersDepot.com. Would really appreciate that. Trying to be responsive to you guys who are asking for content like this. If you could subscribe, would really mean a lot to me. Answering this question about Minkah is going to be a little nuanced, and it probably, off the top, I'll just let you know, isn't going to have a definitive yes or no, he's the same player, or no, he's a shell of himself type of answer. There's some layers to it, and what the Steelers will say, and it's certainly not incorrect, is that he discourages teams from throwing near him. That's why he's not making the impact plays he's accustomed to, and that's hard to quantify. There's no stat that shows that, but I want to show at least one example of what the team is talking about. So week 7 against the New York Jets, Minkah Fitzpatrick playing free safety. Get this play action from Aaron Rodgers. These vertical routes to the top by these number 1 and number 2 receivers. And you see Rodgers looking down the seam initially, and it might be open. We see, Elliott coming down, and we're seeing Pittsburgh in this kind of 3-deep look. And they're running two verticals, a tight end, and the receiver, Devontae Adams, Rodgers' favorite target. And he's looking at it, could squeeze it in there, but there's Minkah Fitzpatrick as that free safety, reading it, breaking on the ball. Rodgers instead turns down the throw, flushes out of the pocket, throws to the right side, that one incomplete. And so that's an example of, I think, the presence of Minkah Fitzpatrick, or potentially a lesser safety without the reputation that Minkah has, perhaps would, encourage Rodgers to throw that football and try to squeeze that pass in there. Instead, Rodgers turns it down, tries to go elsewhere, and the pass ends incomplete. Stuff that does not show up on the stat sheet, but is the impact of what Minkah Fitzpatrick offers. Take a quick look from the end zone view. Not going to see Minkah or the receiver in this one. Going to see Rodgers. I'm pretty sure he was going for Adams here. There's the 2 verticals. He's probably trying to check both. Neither he felt comfortable throwing. So that's just kind of a snapshot into what the team's response is about how Minkah dissuades quarterbacks from throwing near him. Now, there have been plays that Minkah Fitzpatrick has made on the football this year, even if they have not resulted in interceptions. You can think about the Colts game, the forced fumble on Anthony Richardson that Pittsburgh should have recovered and didn't. That was a play that Minkah made. Nobody else cleaned it up on the other end. But Pittsburgh here in cover 2, in a great, just perfect rep, clinic-type stuff here for Minkah playing this deep half. We got the corner playing flat here, where he's taking the out route by number 2. Number 1 running vertically. You have this honey hole shot here for the quarterback, and Minkah with a great angle to play clean and separates player from football with a big hit on Darius Slayton. You will not see a safety play that better than what Minkah was able to do here, to play that clean as well, separate player from football, put that shoulder through the ball, and with a great angle, great anticipation of what was coming to force the incompletion. Also had that really good breakup against the Colts earlier this year that got called for a penalty, legal hit to the head, which was a bogus call. And so there's been some kind of bad luck from an officiating standpoint as well. But just watching this rep here, him playing that deep half, that's a all-star type play that you're used to seeing a guy like Minkah Fitzpatrick make. In Pittsburgh, to their credit, they got Minkah playing Minkah ball again. Last year, he was in the box about 20% of the time due to issues at strong safety. This year, it's about 2 to 3%, and so he's really playing more of that center field, free safety, post safety type of role, but he's not always stuck there, and especially getting back Cam Sutton has allowed Pittsburgh to run a lot more post-snap rotations. You get one here, week 10 against Washington. Minkah, playing like he's going to be maybe the deep half safety here. They rotate on the snap. Cam Sutton becomes a deep safety instead, and so they're rotating, kind of inverting this cover 3 look. So pre-snap, you might be getting cover 2, quarters. Instead, they're rotating to cover 3, deep third, deep third, deep third. We got the 4 underneath, and Minkah able to spin down, help squeeze this throw, and the pass a bit behind because Minkah was coming down, not letting Jaden Daniels lead the receiver. Pass ends up being behind, and incomplete. So again, we see some of the impacts there where it may not show up on the box score. It's not a pass deflection. It's obviously not an interception or anything like that. But Minkah's presence helping tighten that window. Teams throwing away from him don't want to throw to where Minkah's at and put that near his airspace. And the incompletion is really created because of Minkah Fitzpatrick. However, you're still confronted with the fact that Minkah Fitzpatrick does not have an interception this year, and I think on tape you're seeing him play a little bit differently than before. The first time I really felt that was in Week 4 against the Colts. It is just one play, but we're going to check this out late third quarter, as you guys just saw. Minkah Fitzpatrick right here. This should have been an interception. This is a play where in past years, I think Minkah's a little more aggressive on the football. He's talked about he's played maybe a little bit more conservatively this year. Here he seems to be tackling the catch more than going for the football. Pittsburgh rotating their safeties, little wrinkle here, switching the sides of where they're aligning on this play. They're playing, again, cover 3, Minkah coming down. You're seeing the underneath route settle. That's Pittman. You're passing off the vertical route. We have 3 deep. Don't have to match and carry that. I mean, he is right there, and this felt like at the sticks, you drive and make a play on the football. Instead, I mean, he's right at the catch point. He is right there. I mean, he's got eyes on the football. He's got vision. The receiver's not coming downhill. He can step in front of that to knock it away or potentially even intercept it. Instead, he's just going for the tackle. And that is a moment where I sit there and say, I think Minkah of 2019, 2020, 2021 is able to drive on that football, get downhill, and make a play on the ball as opposed to the tackle. And this was, I believe, on third down as well. Yeah, 3rd and 10. And so Pittsburgh had a host of issues stopping 3rd and long around this time in those losses to Dallas and Indy. And so I think it is fair to say that Minkah, for whatever reason, has not been as aggressive on the football this year. I'm just going to quickly show one end zone view because it's going to offer a really good perspective. There's Minkah right there rotating and, again, just eyes on the football, a little blurry, but he's right there. Instead, just going for the tackle, which was, if it's, ahead of the sticks and you're getting off the field, that's one thing. But beyond the sticks for first down, that is not a Minkah Fitzpatrick type of play. The last 2 games have been interesting. He's been a little bit less of playing free safety, a little less on playing that robber, read the eyes of the quarterback. He's kind of been on tight end duty, playing against some of these more athletic matchup tight end issues, especially versus Baltimore, where he spent a ton of time on Mark Andrews. So 3-by-1 bunch here. Andrews, man-to-man coverage, and that's a great route by Andrews, who's, of course, a super talented tight end that's come on strong after a quiet start this year. But Minkah gets turned around, and he's not able to recover. Andrews makes the catch on 1st and 20 to really get out of that 1st and long situation. So is it a bad rep by Minkah? It's not a good rep, obviously, and you're protecting the inside and, you're reacting, obviously, but it's not like a tight end that kind of bodied him and just used his size. That's Andrews being a better athlete in that moment than Minkah. And again, you look at these plays, look at a couple more, and you sit there and say, you're not used to Fitzpatrick struggling quite this much in those man-to-man situations. Later in the game, 3rd down, again, Minkah Fitzpatrick on Mark Andrews, man-to-man coverage, and he's outside leverage. Andrews gains a step on him, but then really runs away, and Fitzpatrick is unable to close that gap. And Andrews is not a super young, spry tight end like he used to be. He's into his 30s, and Minkah is just a little bit behind, makes a tackle. Fitzpatrick's been a really good tackler. He's always been an excellent tackler. It's always been a really underrated and under-discussed part of his game. That has remained true this season. I think the tandem of Elliott and Minkah Fitzpatrick have been the best tackling safety duo in football. But the plays in coverage, a little bit slow, a little bit step behind, having to tackle the catch as opposed to making plays on the football. Similar story Thursday against Cleveland. First play of the second half. Browns coming out in 12 personnel, a 2 tight end look, trips to the bottom, ISO the tight end to the top. That's not David Njoku. That's Jordan Akins, their number 2 tight end. And Minkah, man coverage on this. It's tight coverage. It's a press situation, obviously a bigger body. You run this slant. Akins able to make the catch. Fitzpatrick can't impact the catch point. I may be a little bit more forgiving in this situation because it's more of a physical combat type of moment, but You're waiting for Minkah to kind of make that play in that tight situation that he's certainly capable and accustomed to making. And that does not happen here. Becomes whatever it was, 9-10 yard gain to open up the second half for the Cleveland Browns. And so, that one at the catch point, it's a game of inches, obviously, just missed it. And again, tackling that's impressive all the same. But you think Minkah can make some of those plays. He struggled more on tight ends this year. And just in general, according to our charting, when he's been targeted, he's had not a lot of success in terms of making plays in the football. Obviously, the interceptions or lack thereof will hurt some of the numbers when you look at quarterback rating and things like that. But again, just overall, he's giving up a higher completion rate, and plays like this indicate that. And then finally, the dagger against Cleveland, that 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7 conversion that was such a big-time pickup there for the Browns. Their only third down conversion of the game. Minkah top of the screen, Pittsburgh running man coverage. Now, there's probably some debate and discussion to be had here. Porter's appearing to try to pass this off to Minkah because Minkah has leverage. And so I don't know if that was a true bracket or kind of an on-the-fly type of thing. It's a little hard for us to guess at, but Minkah not really able to react and respond. I know it's snowing and there's a stumble and footing issues and that type of stuff, but I'm not going to make a lot of excuses for, elite talent and caliber players like Minkah's been in the past about weather conditions not affecting the Browns. Shouldn't affect Pittsburgh either. And you just see him not able to make that play in that clutch situation. He has leverage here. He's sitting, and he's just kind of late. The stumble certainly plays a role, but I'm not even sure if he gets there, even if he does not stumble. And then doesn't even tag down Judy here. And the refs called him down. I think they said he kind of gave himself up, but Minkah doesn't know that in that moment. And so just kind of maybe some frustration in his head, because usually he's a super high IQ kind of guy. Very cerebral, very aware, going to do the little things, and no one's even really interested in touching Judy. Maybe Porter got him, but Minkah can't see that. And so, again, we're just kind of seeing him, I wouldn't say not be locked in, because I'm sure he always is, but maybe not being as detailed as we're used to seeing him be. And again, just a look from the end zone view. From this angle, the snow, not quite as bad. Again, seeing the stumble, but usually he's the guy that's going to be able to kind of read and react to that before the route's passing him by, especially because there's really nothing else to worry about. The tight end is, no vertical threat there, and Minkah just not making the play. So, like I said at the top, I don't know where I come in. I think it's certainly fair to critique the lack of splash. There is a point where you sit there and say, okay, you want to see it at some point. To go 2 full years without a pick is just not Minkah-like. I know those things ebb and flow, and there is some virtue and patience. There was a lot of chatter about Patrick Queen early in the year. First 3-4 weeks, where's the splash? Where are the big plays? They're not going to come every single week, and especially when you're playing free safety and teams still, in a lot of ways, as we've shown, won't target you when you're playing in that space. Those plays aren't always going to be there, but we're seeing some negativity on tape as well, and him in coverage not be as strong in some of those man situations that we're used to, and maybe not being quite as aggressive on the football. I'm not really sure why. I don't know if it's just because he wants to protect and make sure nothing gets over the top, and if they can do that, then they're going to win games, which they overall have. I do have kind of a theory that because the offense has been more successful this season, that Fitzpatrick's thinking, okay, I don't have to make all the plays. I can just kind of do my job and make sure we don't give up the big play. And because this offense can now score, they're averaging 23 points per game, we're going to be able to win. I think back to 2019 when Ben got hurt, and it's Duck and Mason, and the defense knew they had to make all the plays because the offense was not going to be able to contribute much. And so I think one reason why that defense was just so good that year, because they had to answer the bell, and they knew there was no one else coming to save them. They had to save themselves. And this year, because the offense, which certainly is still up and down, but has improved, especially with Russ, I think he's kind of thinking, okay, I don't have to play that game anymore. That's just a theory. I don't know if it's really, in his head or not, but he has said that maybe he could play more aggressively. He's, in some cases, chosen not to, and that's shown in the tape. So, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you guys watching. Please also check out the site, SteelersDepot.com. Subscribe to the channel. Again, no hard and fast black and white takeaways, but you guys have asked for it. I wanted to go through the tape And those are just some of the thoughts I've had on Minkah watching him throughout the year, and now I'm just sharing them with you guys. So make of that what you will. So again, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.